Okay, what's up, guys? So I recently just came off a powerlifting meet myself, um, and I just kind of remember sitting there, like, oh, my first meet was I don't know how many years ago, and it's kind of crazy just that I'm still doing it. I guess is what went through my head at least. I was just like, I kind of wanted to get back to the excitement of that first meet, and so I was like sitting there, and I'm like, how can I like start to give back to like beginners or like people new to the sport, like what can I do for them? And so like I remember, super nervous for my first meet, making sure I had everything. And I was just like, you know what, like I should just make a bona fide checklist just to make sure that I'm helping somebody have all their bases covered and be fully prepared for their meet, regardless of training. Of course, that's a different story. Training is going to go how training is going to go, and that's a process that hopefully has been going on for much longer than just the night before, right? So I made this checklist and kind of run over and say why uh, I'm saying this and why it's on the checklist. So every meet, whatever federation, most federations, you have to have your membership card or your membership number. So right now you can have it on your phone. Just show them. They'll jot down your identification number. Usually you're good to go. Otherwise, I don't know how you got there or how you registered for the meet. But and then you have to back it up. So your form of identification makes sense. Your driver's license, whatever you got. Um, you got to have your singlet. I've only really had one, but it's probably a good idea to have two just in case something were to happen. They don't really take up a ton of space if you fold them correctly. And then footwear and socks. I always have two pairs of shoes that I can compete in. Generally, I have my squat shoes. I have my deadlift shoes, whatever. They're just regular Metcons. And I have a backup pair. I make sure that my casuals for that day can still work for at least benching and deadlifts. Underwear. Gotta have two. I don't wanna explain that one too much. um, Probably after you get your footwear and everything down that you need to compete in, um, you got to have your openers going in. They're gonna ask you day one going like when you go to register, make sure you have your attempts already planned. So your openers, your attempt selection. So like same as above. Um, Make sure you have some sort of plan in terms of your attempt selection, but you gotta have your openers. Um, Whether you're working with a coach or going in by yourself, how you want to do it is kind of up to you in terms of your attempt selection. Some people like to take two big jumps. Some take smaller ones. They want to open up relatively high and then take smaller jumps from there. Or there's take one big jump and then do a small little one at the end. It's kind of up to preference, whatever you think you would better work with. I know I generally like to open up with something I know I can crush, just to get one on the board, right? Um, but that's probably you should have that plan going in well ahead, a week or two before going in. Make sure you have a meat t-shirt. You have to wear a shirt underneath your singlet for squats and bench, and it has to be 100% cotton. Besides that, it doesn't even matter, brand or whatever, as long as it doesn't have like a grip on the back. Um, I like to wear shirts that make me feel like I'm going to be a badass or something. Everything to put something in, so a backpack or a duffel bag. Make sure you have your lifting belt. It's not required, but I don't know what powerlifter doesn't use a lifting belt in meet. Um, if you wear wrist wraps, grab them. Some people don't. If you wear sleeves or knee wraps, make sure you have them. Water and other fluids. I always have one blender bottle full of water or Gatorade. I do like a half and half of water and Pedialyte, and I just kind of sip on that throughout the day. Um, but most places will have a water fountain. Easily digestible foods that are carb heavy and easy on your stomach. So not something that you haven't eaten before because that could upset your stomach. My go-to for me's are PB&Js and gummy bears. Some people have honey that they sip on throughout the meet. Some people I've seen a lot of the vertical diet people just have beef and rice. Beef and rice. After after all the squats, they'll have a beef and rice meal. I generally don't want to be full, so I want something that doesn't really fill me up, but I know is carb heavy. So this one, I say coach and handler. I put it on there because I don't think it's necessarily required. Um, but for your first meet, having someone there with you that has done it before is always a good idea. They can help you kind of navigate, when should I warm up? How should I, what's the timing here? Stuff like that. Um, it's not required, but it's definitely going to be a game changer to take stress off of you. That's what this list is for, is to help you have the least amount of stress possible on meet day, because you have one thing that you should be focusing on, and that's squat, bench, deadlift, performance, right? Um, have backup chalk. If you have special chalk that you like to wear or use or whatever, you can have it. Some people do a mix of liquid and powder. If that's the case, bring your own just in case, because you never know. I'm sorry. Um, have music. Some people don't like it. Some people do. I like to kind of get out of the zone for a little bit while while it's not my heat or anything like that. But and then have your casual change of clothes. Having a video recording device. So most people's phones. So if you have someone supporting you, I generally just say give them your phone, record it, and then how'd that look? Was that easy? If you have a second, you can look at it. Okay, this is what I want to make my attempt, because you have like 30 seconds to tell them your next attempt. Um, whatever you like to use to warm up. Bands, foam roller, floss bands, whatever it is, make sure you got them. I bring a half foam roller, and I have every kind of band in the world that you'd want. Um, just because that day is meant for you to get into the zone, whatever makes you feel the best. Um, pre-workout coffee, anything that's got energizing qualities to it for you. Some people are good with just beta alanine. Those people are psychotic to me. But no, I'm kidding. But um, I generally like to have a coffee in the morning, just because that's the normal everyday ritual for me. And then I have caffeine pills that I take. But having like scoops of pre-workout, throwing it in, whether you want to sip on the pre-workout, kind of up to you. Just make sure that you know how much caffeine you're consuming. Generally, the performance aspect, anywhere between like 300 to 400 is going to be a good starting point for most people to at least get the performance benefits from caffeine. Um, some people don't like, uppers, and that's fine. Everybody's on a different performance scale, and the height that they perform best at. So, generally, I like to be in the moderate amount. So I kind of reach, 400, and then throughout the day, I'll have another half serving or full serving through the back half of the day, just to keep it going. And then anti-inflammatories. Sometimes, meat prep can beat you up. Having, Advil or Tylenol going in can make you feel, relatively good and ready to go for the meet. It's not required, but some people get pretty beat up for prep. So it's kind of dose dependent on how you like to perform and how your meet prep went. Um, so that's kind of what I'm suggesting that you have down before your first meet. Just go through this list. Am I missing anything? I generally recommend, like, if you want to bring other things, I don't know what else or what there is more to bring, but everybody's different. But I think these are good baselines. Some are semi-optional. I would, well, not semi-optional, but not everything on here is like mandatory, but there are things I think would be really good ideas to be prepared for, when you're packing for the day before, you go to check in or weigh in. So I hope this helps somebody. It's not that crazy. If you want this, I'll put the link in and I can email it to you. Nothing crazy. Um, and then if you have any other questions, the rest of this, you'll be able to find my Instagram. You can email me. Um, I'm taking clients right now. So there's a link there. Basically, it's like a 2 second, like, hey, what's your goals? It helps me give a snapshot on how you are as a person. Actually, I'll just click on it right now. Boom, open up. It just goes into a little type form, and then you just kind of hit apply now, and it starts so I can communicate with you. And then what are your goals? What do you think's been going on? This is a small application form. It's not the full one. Once you get this, I'll contact you, kind of get a little bit more information, and then I'll give you the full application form. That way I can get a bigger snapshot or a bigger picture of kind of who I'm working with. Of course, that's not everything, but something to check out. If you have any questions, you can always let me know. And go crush it. Um, yeah, go crush it. If you got your first meet coming up, kill it. If you want to get in your first meet, but you're nervous, I recommend just doing it anyway. Everybody there is going to be super supportive. So, all right, see ya.